Well, hello everybody, and welcome back. It's Good Friday, which means it's the start of the long weekend. So I thought we would come here for an impromptu stream of streaming this. Uh, E10 or Troll Country? E10, I suppose? That's where everybody seems to be. We'll go to E10. Watch as I now crash because I dare to fly after starting streaming. There's a new event, something to do with wyverns. Um, no idea how it works. I haven't read anything on it. Uh, but yeah, I probably should read what it's about. Hespit, Black Crag, Island Gorge, Secure Keep, Skill Order. Participate in Conflict Public Quest. I don't know what a Conflict Public Quest is. Oh, they're all low-level things. Okay. What do we get? An egg. There's something inside. I wonder if it's like a Kinder Surprise without the tasty chocolate. That's nice. I quite like that. Although I think I still have, like, where's the other one? Uh, this thing? Yeah, I've still got that one from the last one, so. A weird amount of overlap. Assault and Black Crag. That's the weekend scenario, so. Okay. Sure. Oh, we have a ram. Check to see if I've got the quest for her or not. I think I do. Wouldn't that be cool if blackguards could have a one-handed spear?
Do you seek advancement?
Like, it just looks cool and different. I know why they don't, because they were already behind with the blackguard. That's why it came after launch. So they didn't want to spend the time or money on adding a completely new weapon type and animations. Like, I get it, but it's another thing we get to thank EA for. Thanks, EA. An Eastern Wyvern egg. Oh, so they're just dotted around the place. Here's one here. I don't know what you do with them, but okay. Queue up for scenarios again. I don't even know if I can do anything to a warrior priest. Not my chosen. I shall run away. Like a white lion. Ah, great. Now I've got a lockout timer. Speaking of white lions. White Lion doesn't want any part of it. There's another egg. Eggs for days. More eggs. I wonder what's in the eggs. I assume it's like... I smell an egg nearby. Did I? What a powerful nose I have. I assume it's like you'll either get something out of it or you'll get attacked by a wyvern that randomly matures and hatches as soon as you crack it open. It's usually the way these kinds of games do it. There's another one over there. Wow. There's a lot of people here. Let's see if we can spot any eggs. There's one. There's one. I would have assumed, like, out here, they wouldn't necessarily have been as pillaged, shall we say. Oh, there's one. Like, what do you do to them? Oh, you need to have a basket. Okay, I need to go and buy something to do it. I was wondering what was going on. This isn't going to get annoying at all, just constantly having it pop up. You smell an egg. You don't smell an egg. You smell an egg. Guessing I have to go to the inevitable city and find a vendor who sells a basket. Probably down around the front of the main bit. It's a technical term. Don't even know what you call the main bit in Inevitable City. Which is a scathing indictment of how much I pay attention, because, like, I've been playing this game long enough. Oh, there you go. Eggs everywhere. Like, there's a fee inside. What do I have? A warband. Seems about right. Not usually on at this time on a weekday, so I'm not even sure. Like, is this a lot of people for this time? not a lot of people? Don't know. Oh! Who's that? That's somebody's alt warrior priest. I cannot for the life of me remember who. Somebody in chat, that's their alt. Off the top of my head. I recognize the name. I say alt, it could be their main. I just know that they've got a different name in chat, but I can't remember who it was. They're getting planked at by a pink car, though. Oh! It's Captain Insano. He was in scenarios yesterday. Whole raft of order running around the back. That was all me. Wasn't anything to do with all those other people attacking them. Oh, they've got oil up again. What, like the third or fourth time? What's that, warrior priest? Warrior priests everywhere at the minute. There's another one. Engineer. Oh, there's someone who's got himself a wyvern mount. Don't think that's one of the rewards, is it? No. Wyvern wings. Unless it's like the Dark Pegasus one, that's like a quest somewhere. This Keep Siege feels like it's taking forever. This guy's taking his life in his hands. He's like, that blackguard will never get a sore arm, and a sword will never drop below here. It's like a health and safety nightmare. Just, whoops. Sorry, you've lost an ear. Gets really tired. Whoops. There goes his head. No order behind us. I too am gonna go and capture a BO. I like renown. And influence. More importantly, influence at the minute, because I want to get further in my RVR week. Bene Gesserit. That's the witch ladies from June. I wonder are they the alt guild of Bene Tilax or whatever it's called on order. Putting 2 and 2 together and coming up with 25. What a fun side quest that was. Oh wow. I've already got stuff to send to the Cirque. Nearly at 1200 Warcrests as well. So, like, I was looking last night, just before I logged off, um, the sovereign pieces that I need to get is the head, shoulders, ring, and gloves. So the gloves are like 900 and something. Um, and then the rest of it's all like, I think it's 1495 for the shoulders and 1800, I think, for the helmet. I don't know, it's like 1900, I think, for the ring. Something like that. So there's a good bit to go. The one advantage I have with it is there is um uh there's a long way to go until you reach the renown rank to use them. It's like the gloves are 76, the helmet's 77, and the ring's 78, I think. So, like, you're talking it's a good million renown away before we're even in a position to wear all of it. Where'd he go? But we're getting there. Slowly but surely. I also want to get the Sovereign chest piece, just so that I can use the look of it. Because I don't like the Warlord one at all. But the Warlord one's got better stats on it. In my opinion, anyway. For what I want it to do. Seems to be more destruction here than there was outside. I'll join these guys. Guard Mr. Chopper. Wherever he's gone. Round the back. Or not. Where is this guy over here? We'll guard him. There we go. I'll make myself useful. I'll do hold the line spam. I mean, I've got a shield. I might as well use it. That's the off-sovereign appearance for the Chosen. Kind of reminds me of the Mouth of Sauron in Return of the King. Just a little bit. It's another one of those where, like, I'm not really sure whether I like it or I don't. It's just such a weird... It's such a weird look. Oh, crikey, I didn't want to move that. Like, the chosen armor just looks amazing. It's probably the best looking armor at the start of the game. Like, that initial white set that you can get from the merchant in Nordland. Like, it looks better than most classes' set gear. You could literally wear that the whole way through the game, and you'd be sitting thinking, yeah, that looks pretty good. Quite like that. That's the actual sovereign appearance. Well, looks pretty cool. That's something I need to get for my guy, is the upgraded shield. I'll get it once I get my sovereign stuff, rather than before. I was like, it's not a huge deal of difference. Do this just in case. All the dead lions. It's all you ever find. Dead lions. Primarily because their owners have run away. Oh, the chopper's done. Is it lots of chopping? I can never remember the name of it. The thing that reduces cooldown timers. I still have no idea why that's on a chopper, of all things. Like, that's the sort of thing that you would expect to be on, like, a Blackwork. That's the thing I've always found weird about this game, is like the super powered DPS in terms of the chopper and the sword have so much utility, and yet like the utility classes don't really have anything that competes. It's very strange. Like, you'd expect from a game design perspective, the fact that they're massive damage should be the draw for them to be in a warband, and then the utility should be spread out amongst, like, you know, I don't know, like the tanks, the healers, the more sort of utility-based DPS classes like Magus, Marauder, that sort of thing. It's just weird to me that it's all funneled into Sork and Choppa. Isn't it a tad early? It is! About 6 hours too early at this stage, but it's Good Friday, so no work, lots of play. Hopefully you're having a nice day, Annalise. Well, good morning, good sir. Indeed, I have my cup of tea sitting here. And I'm just doing some casual renown and influence farming. Might get a chance to actually get 75, depending on how things go. Nice, I always enjoy my insert beverage of choice. So you're having a whiskey on the rocks is what you're telling me. On the rocks, I wasn't going to judge you, but that went overboard. I'm judging now. Well, I am not a whiskey drinker, so I do not know. I am but a humble voyager in these areas. I've never actually found whiskey to be any way nice to drink. Literally just tastes like my mouth's on fire. And then the aftertaste is like old cardboard. Did you chug whiskey or take tiny sips? Tiny sips. If I had tried chugging it, I would have probably died. No matter how good whiskey is, chugging it will make it taste atrocious. I mean, I don't think it could taste any worse, but I'll take your word on that. Anyway, with the 500 million different whiskies in the world, you still haven't tried the right one. I actually have a picture of me at the big distillery down in Dublin when I was last there, and they've got all of the old kegs that they used to make it in, all stacked up along their entranceway. That was pretty cool. Oh, I have to say I enjoyed my tour around the Guinness factory so much more. Also, with the average price at €300 per bottle, are you going to try? No. 100%. It is very expensive. Although I do have a friend who's a big whiskey drinker, and like, he loves the stuff. I've just never been able to get a taste for it. I even tried, oh, what do the Americans call it? Bourbon? I think it's called bourbon, American whiskey. Didn't like it either. It was just, ugh. This is the one problem that keeps, when you've got this few people, it always feels like it takes forever to get a keep lord down. Hey! Didn't want a single bag. Doo-doo. Luckily, we have more drinks than there are people. Can just find what you enjoy and sip on them. You know, I just hit the keyboard and go and make coffee. I think that's what a lot of people do, in fairness, when you see people that keep sieges. The amount of AFKers is amazing. Hey, we're over the 1200 mark. Oh, that'll do 94%. 6% to go. Oof. Order of very few people. Be interesting to see how these numbers change once this first stage finishes. Luckily, my PC is in the kitchen, so I can keep checking the status. You see, that's where I'm unlucky, because my PC's upstairs at the back of the house, and the kitchen is downstairs, the other side of the back of the house. So I can't even listen through the roof and go, something's happened. Not that listening through the roof's particularly easy, mind you. All you hear is the drone. That's why, whenever I used to live at home, and this game was out originally, I used to wait until there was a break in play, and I would go downstairs and I would make, like, 3 or 4 cups of tea or coffee, and I would put them into, like, travel mugs and the like. And then I'd just have uninterrupted drinking for, like, ages. The only downside there was it's like the way like the desk and everything was built at that stage was like it's like the top part of it where the monitor sat sort of above eye level. So I would usually have the cups sitting up there and I'd be sort of sitting looking at them going, did I fill them up? Or did I drink them? And I would always do the thing where I would like reach over and lift it, and if it weighed anything, I was like, "Yes, I've got tea." And if it didn't, I was like, "Oh, I'm sad. I'll move to the next one." And there was nothing worse than going all the way along the line and go, "Nope, they're all empty. I'm going to have to go and refill." And to show you how bad it got, at one point I started to consider buying a thermos flask just to fill it as a backup. We're all over here. I'm sitting running back and forth. It's the wrong group. I've never understood leaving stuff forever. How do you mean? So many friends who've cups on pretty much any surface that they didn't take back to the kitchen. Yeah. I only keep them with me as long as I'm using them. In that particular scenario, it was a case of they were there to fulfill the need of me not having to get up and go and refill them. But I'd be the same, like, whenever I'm finished with something, I'll take it back and wash it, put it away, or refill it for more tasty, tasty tea. Also, I missed, like, the last 2 minutes as I took my breakfast plate back to the kitchen, saying, to be honest, you didn't miss anything, dude. I was just surprised that my group was standing off to one side and not the group that I was standing bouncing around on top of. Because again, I don't pay attention. Quick restart, ETA, downtime 5. Why are they doing it when we're in the middle of a fort siege? That in itself makes no difference. Or sorry, no sense. Oh, sorry, in half an hour. Oops. Again, I don't pay attention, so I didn't notice that Max was saying in half an hour. Oops. But you were having a long explanation of something. Yeah, a long explanation of why I was with the wrong group. Anyway, time to make my preferred beverage of choice. Is it warm or cold? I will eke out more information about the man they call Anonymous. Oh yeah, their numbers have dropped off. They're down to 62. Oh, you went over here. Doo-doo. I was about to say, I'm just waiting on a whole bunch of people getting knocked off the side of that thing. The way they're all spread out. This is where you need those cannons that cause knockback when you hit them. To start shooting people along it. Although, I was saying, I can't remember who I was saying it to. Can't remember whether it was my stream or somebody else's stream. But I was saying it to someone anyway. It's like, there was a chat about how keep sieges are very samey. And it's all just funnel this, funnel that. Like, would it not make sense to introduce orcapults to keep sieges? So you can just launch people into the top floors? So that the defenders have to split themselves between both floors? Even a little bit? Or, like, have it with... I don't know if you've ever seen it, like the big siege towers that are in the world. You could have it where one of them gets spawned. But to do it, you have to go and capture, I don't know, BOs and bring supply crates or something like that. Like, there's so many things you could do to get around the idea that you have to funnel through one door. And you could make it that the outer door has to be down before you could use them or something like that. Just to stop people being able to... Well, I suppose you can't really ninja keep these days because the doors have to be down. Because I think it was Dark Age of Camelot had it where you could, like, destroy the walls and stuff like that. Or at least there was destructible parts to keeps. And I think that they had thought about doing it for this, and then again, they just ran out of time and money. I think I've gone sleepy again. Yeah, he's over here. And I'm stuck. Why is it I can get stuck on literally anything? Everybody queuing up to get in through the door. It's a good job they don't have oil at these things. Do the wiggle jiggle. Get yourself through. It's the ideal temperature. I'll go back to my Frodo meme. Alright then, keep your secrets. Spam AoE. I'm dead. Teeth. Sure. Guess not a currency of some kind. There you go. But isn't it just a perfect drink? I don't know, man. I love tea. If I could only drink one thing for the rest of my life, I think it would be tea. Destro gets teeth, we get fines. See, it makes sense lore-wise, because, like, the greenskins are all about collecting teeth. And from an Empire perspective, they'd probably be after fangs for, like, vampires or something like that. Water. The healthy choice. Flavored water, the unhealthy choice. Feels like this guy's going down quicker than the Keep Lord did. Probably got more people here for this, in fairness. All the little looby magus. Maybe use some beans or leaves, I don't know. Your preferred added flavor. Tea leaves. That's what I'll add to my water. Then I will strain them and take them out. And drink the delicious leafy goodness at a nice warm temperature. What? I was AFK. No, you were saying you would add, like, stuff to water for, like, added flavor. I was like, yes, I would add tea leaves. Yes, that's not what I said. It is, but I was just doubling down on it. Beans hunting at coffee, leaves hunting at tea. I know. I do so like the leafy goodness. How's the resolution look, by the way, Anonymous? I was tinkering. I think slowly but surely I'm getting back towards what it should look like. I can read text. Well, that's a positive. So it turns out OBS was limiting the bitrate to 6,000, which wasn't particularly good. So when I put it in the advanced mode, I could then change the bitrate. So I changed it up. But I also need to go in and check. There's a whole heap of options for like the types of encoder and stuff that it's using, so I need to play around with that for a bit. Ooh, 98%. I'll go back to the Viper's Pit. Thing is, Twitch still limits it to 6,000 for me. Playback rate is capped at 6,000 for non-partners, I believe. Ah, okay. Then that's not going to have fixed it. So other stuff that I've changed has probably helped slightly. Server region is shutting. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Damn it, Max. Really my fun. That loading screen was crisp clear. I think it's only in movement, so it's when I'm doing things like that. I think it's when the pixelation usually comes in. Yeah, that would be what tools the limits of playback rate. Unfortunately. How are we doing in our ORVR week? Ooh! Progressing. Oh, I'm probably gonna have to go to the workplace for the quests, right? Fiddlesticks. Are we progressing anything else? A little bit in that. Nothing really on that. Which is maybe why I heard someone saying 980p is the optimal for Twitch because of the playback rate. Yeah, you could be right. That's the thing, I had it set yesterday, I think it was 1080p. When I was like reviewing the footage, it looked terrible. It was really pixelated. What I'll do is before this shuts down, I'll go to Carragate Peaks, because I think that's where this wyvern stuff is. Now, where here is going to be the question. It's not going to be any of these guys. Well, I say it's not going to be any of these guys. It would make sense for it to be one of these guys based on where it is in the inevitable city. But then, this is Carragate Peaks, where all of the rules are not the rules anymore. I've got something to hand in over here anyway. Parkour! Aha! Wait. Is he above me? No, he is.
Who's your boss? Don't do nothing stupid.
I don't even remember.
You better do it good.
I don't even remember picking that quest up, in fairness. Unless it's shared with somewhere. Maybe it's like shared with Cadron Valley or something like that. Down here is usually where the event doodads are here, so. Around here maybe? Speak to Wurzug. Okay.
Use a small one. You looking at me?
The ones in the future get
Stupid.
way of the where's that? Speak with Kazgi about the ways of the little Wa. Who? Very special dye vendor.
No shinies at all, boss.
Sure. Oh, this is what you use teeth for. I see, I see. Okay.
Who's that?
Hey, what are you looking at?
So where am I going? Back with my preferred beverage. Welcome back. Hopefully it is nice and tasty and of an appropriate temperature. You produce something greater than you can imagine. One get to unify all the green sketch and conquer the world, but first you must know where. Okay. Random. Once shit get use it distracts me. Keep the turn shroom. The spleen rip is gonna eat. Speak with Kazgi. Who is Kazgi? Oh, it's here. All roads point to the Middle Deeps, so we'll go there. Time to log back on. My Witch Hunter hit 35 and is Annihilator now. I've become God in scenarios. Well, I think the server's going to shut down soon. But to be honest, the Witch Hunter is just godly in everything it does. It's quite remarkable just how overpowered it is. Ah! Quite remarkable how terrible I am at actually climbing up stuff that you're supposed to climb up. The Elder Gods have denied my slaughter. Yeah, but it'll only be for 5 minutes when it happens. Or at least that's what they say. It feels kind of weird that I'm starting to get used to navigating my way around this city. Uh, so straight ahead. We have changed our minds on all of this, and the patch will in fact not be going live yet. The patch notes about the April Fool's patch note. Yeah, it's it was quite entertaining what they did with that one. I think it is this way, like if I get all the way to the top of here and it's not this way and I actually have to stay down the bottom, I'm gonna be sad. Server region will shut down in 5 minutes. Being put in the clock. I mean, the perfect way to actually fix the dwarves is to turn them into chaos dwarves. Then they'd be fine.
What you want?
I think that was just a generic quest that I've picked up. It's nothing to do with this.
I got no shinies. No shinies at all, boss.
Mount Bloodhorn.
Don't do it.
Mount Bloodhorn it is. I'll do a book of binding. Oh, 5. I won't even be done patching by then. That's probably why they're doing it, because I don't think I've had the patch. Or at least if I did, I didn't notice that I had the patch. Oh, I didn't send that stuff to my Sork. I thought I did. I don't know, I'm going and see him. Dear little Sork, please accept these wonderful trinkets and then send me back the offerings. While I'm here.
What you after?
It's my Bloodhorn. Akron. Said hang my Bloodhorn. My Witch Hunter is sitting at 15 Genesis crests and like 6 bags, waiting to hit 40, so I know what I will be getting. Genesis stuff?
What you want? This is the job.
Travel to location screen indicated that you should have large screens to have a strong specimen that could shed stronger yet spores.
Get on with it.
I get the bad feeling this is a quest line that's nothing to do with so many witch hunters run with 2 fort weapons, so I want to go back enough bags to buy weapons if I need them. Ah, okay.
Want something, do ya?
Venture into Mount Gunbad. I don't want to go to Mount Gunbad. Random. Hey, T-Boo. Nice, thanks, bud.
Yeah? Good riddance.
Oh, I should have went to Barrack Var. It's a nicer aesthetic. Not a good day today, unfortunately. Oh no, why not? Hopefully everything's okay.
Oi, oi, oi!
Uh-oh. Server shutting down. Dun-dun-dun. Nan passed away early hours of this morning, all a bit hectic at the minute. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, bud. My condolences to you, good sir. It's never a nice time. Just getting my patch downloaded at the minute. Got all the funeral arrangements and such sorted, but nothing will be moving forward until like Tuesday. Yeah. Oh, that's unfortunate, dude. I really am sorry for you. Hopefully you can take some time and come to terms with it. It's okay, I'll be in that numb stage for a week or two, so I'm surprisingly okay for now. It'll kick in later, I'm sure. Ah, it always affects people differently. But hopefully you and your family can get through it okay. Huh, I'm back here. Nope. Okay, while this is deciding whether I can get in or out of the game, I'm going to go and make a new cup of tea. So I shall be back in about 2 minutes, guys. And I'm back. We'll make it through it. It'll be bloody weird considering we're living in our house, but we'll get through it. Gotta figure out how to garden properly, though. She'll never forgive me if I let those plants die. Yeah, well, that's at least something nice. Like, you'll be able to continue on her legacy. There you go. I have my delightful cuppa that is doing its utmost to scald my hands. But, yeah. Uh, Hello, Gigi. Thank you very much for the follow, kind sir. Hopefully you're having a nice day. You're not going to lead your warband of doom to kill me. I'm going to go to Inevitable City because I cannot stand this place at all. Gigi's here. It's time for us to dominate. Well, that's what Tosh tells me. Ooh, sparkles. Alright. Let us queue up for some scenarios. I'm a useless cook though, so after I've picked the cherries and such, my girl will be baking the pies. That's the one that I used to be the same. I used to be terrible at cooking. And then I went through a phase about 3 or so years before I moved out of home. And I was like, I kind of need to figure this stuff out. And I just sat down. I started doing like really simple things, like scrambled eggs and um, like cooking rice and like full English breakfasts and stuff like that. Like the simple things that you can't really mess up. And then I just started to go from there. And it's surprising like how forgiving cooking actually is. Like you can almost always pull something back even if you're like wrecking it. You see, that's a good place to start. Start with the simple stuff like that, and then you merge the simple stuff together, and it gets you something more complex, and then that gives you the what? That gives you the confidence to go on and do something more. Hang on a minute. Is that Dominator? Or Conqueror? I think it's that. Yeah. I was gonna say I thought that was Dominator. Like, very rarely ever see someone wear it. What am I up against? Bunch of Slayers. Sure. There's a wonderful channel on YouTube. I don't know if it's still going or not. And it was called Sorted Food. And it was a bunch of young guys who I think at the time were at university. And they were teaching you how to do different types of meals. I found their stuff really helpful because they were basically guys the same age of me just throwing stuff together. And it was really clever. Um, I think they ended up doing a cookbook and everything. Hello, little orderlings. Don't run away. Ah, there's the squishy. Bye. And now they don't have a healer. Beginning to think there for a second. I didn't have a healer. Damn Jakarta. Who is your daddy? And what does he do? Resident dead. Tell you what though, I'm obsessed with watching cooking videos about Asian cuisine, Chinese, Korean, Thai, Japanese. I want to learn some of that. There's a good one for that, and it's called Zhang's Food Workshop or something like that. It's done by a mum and son called Chin and Chu, and they do sort of takeaway meals. And then there was another one, I think it was a Korean girl in America called, oh, was it Asian at Home or something like that? She used to do like lots of sort of Chinese and Thai food. I want to make dak kalgusku. I've probably murdered that. Which is basically a Korean chicken noodle soup. Ah, nice. See, it's things like that which are a good place to start, because like noodle soups especially are like quite easy to do. BRB will stay on stream, but gotta do some stuff. No worries, dude. Thanks for being here. Who knows? Time to annihilate in the snares and get my two-piece Genesis on. You do love your Genesis stuff, I'll give you that, Anonymous. Come on, Speedy. Oh, all the ones I want to hit are far away. Aha! Teeth! I need teeth. Have I actually won any teeth? I haven't yet. I assume they go in there and they don't go in somewhere else. Come here, little room priest. Bring me your runey priestiness. Magus, would you stand on that flag so we can cap it, please? Damn it, Jakarta. You're not allowed to stagger me. I swear it's the shield. Witch hunters just love to do their wee jump away thing for me. Must give them extra leverage with their legs just to pounce off it. Teeth. Oh, they've got an Archmage now. Oh, they have two Archmages. They always work in pairs. Excuse me, coming through. That's the problem with putting yourself in a corner like that, is you can't get out of it when people crowd around you. Hey, 6,400. 4 deaths. It's like I'm glaive specced again. Right. Barrack Far? Let's go to Barrack Far. What do we got? Ooh, 99. What's that one need? 309. Jesus. So we're close then, is what I'm gathering from that. This is the same kind of prompt I get at home after I've eaten an Easter egg. You no longer smell a chocolate egg nearby. I know, because I've eaten it. I really need to go and read the patch notes and figure out where all of this stuff comes from. Still get the goggles from the eggs. What goggles? Oh, and I've got a lockout again. Bloody regen witch hunters. Bye. Bye. The joy. I bet this is your favorite. It's slowly becoming it, simply for the fact that I can put people into the ocean. Oh, the engineer's back. Well, that's just cruel. Oh. How long until they call a war back? To be honest, they were just slowly but surely wearing me down. Now they know Empire is unlocked out of scenarios. Where's the healer? Oh, here he is. Makes me sad. I can smell a wyvern egg. I'll never see it coming. Darn, I was about to war report to Barrackfire and come and watch this madness. Flew. Everywhere he goes, engineers these days. He parried me? That's quite embarrassing for me that an engineer can parry me. Let's get you far away from your doodah. Oh, agonize you again. Go away. Let me have my fun. This is the problem, you cannot get a decent 1v1 anymore. Ah! She only wants to fight when it's in her favor. And as a witch hunter, it's always in her favor. That dude is on every streamer, worst stream sniper there is. Who, agonize you? Don't know, I think that's the first time I've ever seen them. Like, I mean, seems as cowardly as a white lion, considering she only seems to want to fight 2v1 in her favor. If it is a her, it's probably a he. Huzzah! What is it at the next level? Oh, it's nearly 400,000. That makes me sad. Getting closer to the second pip. Can nearly requeue for scenarios. Seems like everybody's over in Troll Country. All probably fighting in the woods outside the war camp. Where am I? Oh. This is one of those maps where it's quite... It's entertaining because it kind of reminds me a little bit of Nordland, only with a dwarf theme. But, like, you're just never here. 29 how is a 29 chamois gonna do a tier 1 lair boss? Sure, you'll be a chicken. Unless he's responding to somebody else. That's the neat part. He won't. Will he not? I thought the lairs counted as a PvP zone. Oh. I'm so confused. Even if he uses some dumb way to not flag, it's still an ORVR zone and poof chicken. Yeah, that's what I thought. Let's go over to Ostland and Troll Country.
Hello there.
Hello there. How goes it, good sir? Hopefully you're having a nice day. How am I doing in my RVR week after all of that shenanigans? Ooh, nearly there. Can sign up the scenarios again. It's hard to annihilate a scenario when Destro has 15 healers star 1. Now you know how I feel most of the time. That's what most of my scenarios are like. You also can't kill anyone in scenarios. I can. It just takes me a while. Uh-oh. Destro has left us to die. I just downloaded the game, don't know what I want to play. So the one thing that I'll always say to people is pick a thing that you like the look of, because then you can't go wrong. On your character selection screen, or sorry, your character creation screen, I should say, you'll see all the different classes and what they look like at max level in their sovereign gear. So just go along the list of them and find one that you like the look of and give it a go. And then if you don't like it in tier 1, try another one. Like, you'll literally level up really quickly in Tier 1. You'll get a feel for how the character plays and whether you like it or not. So you have nothing to lose. Yeah, but they're all cool. And that's the great part. Play all of them. There's no good answer to what should I play because everybody plays a different way. Some people really enjoy ranged, some enjoy melee. If you've got a group of people to play with, certain classes play better that way. If you have no one really to play with and you're playing solo like me, other classes are better for that. But yeah, just have fun with it. A thrilling loss. You don't really have to play the 35 to get a feel in some classes to 40. Yeah. That's the thing, when I started off, like, I was playing about, what, 5 or 6 different classes all at once. Just getting reacquainted with the game. I'm really confused as to what's going on here. I think we're ranking up the keep, by the looks of it. Are we? It's certainly close. I'll go and have a look. Anyone know where is the event merchant? Carrot Peak. That's where I thought they were. I'll need to go back at some stage. I always find it weird that this was just completely removed from the rest of the lake. Like, this would have been a great thing to fight over as like a battlefield objective, like the ruined city. Or, sorry, the ruined town, I should say. That's the one thing I always thought that they missed a trick with in this game, is like, your battlefield objectives could have been so much more entertaining than what most of them are. Could have little settlements or little things to fight over. The way Tier 3 is for a good chunk of it. Again, it's probably a time and money thing. How Deft Heart can a chosen get at 36? I tell you what, my chosen at 31 feels pretty defensive. Hello. Didn't even notice him standing there. I'm guessing he ran out of AP or something. But that's the thing. A chosen with bolster is a nightmare. Just don't fight them. That's the only thing I can say. Especially if they're running the 3 basic auras, because they just get boosted something shocking. Like, I think mine at 31's running around with near 800 strength, toughness, and wounds. And then his resistances are all up like 600-700 as well. Oh, we got the keep to rank 1. My work here is done, even though I did nothing to help. They're 36 in this scenario. They have no bolster. Alright, okay. Whee! Hello. Use one of my portable healers. Did we cap it? We did. To the next flag. Look, Mom, I'm on stream. Yes, you are. Krishnar. Yes, you are. Now, if he's watching the stream, he's clearly going to clip it at that point. And if he doesn't, we'll know that he's not actually watching. See, I knew I'd be able to call you out. That's one way to knock back someone. Send them closer to the thing that you want to keep them away from. Let me knock him back. Damn it. I was dead before I even stood up. So sad. I'm crushed. I wanted to do a knockback. Down you go. Ah! Get to mid. Yes, sir, Colonel Smoker, sir. Now we have to go back to the place that we were. Damn you, Smoker. I've said it before and I've said it again. Steps in games should count in real life. Teeth. We did it. Ooh, 7k. Well, near enough 7k. I was 1 for 1. How predictably boring of me. Fisticuffs in the middle, by the looks of things. Let's see, I'll run a box if there's one out here. I'm gonna guess there's not, with the amount. Jesus. We've got warbands running boxes now. Right, tell you what. We'll go to Carrogate Peaks and we can see if we can find this purveyor of wyvern basket things. Because I'll just forget otherwise. Queue up for another scenario. The vendor? Yeah. I believe there's a vendor. Oh, I've got more stuff to send to the Cirque. Dear Mr. Cirque, please accept these gifts. Carrogate Peaks. 33.15 in Carrogate Peaks. Ah, thank you very much. That'll save me hunting. Well, I say it'll save me hunting. Watch as I still hunt. 33.15. Oh, it's all the way up in there. So I was in the right sort of area. I hate Carrogate Peaks, I really do. Kind of interested to see what the Dark Elf one looks like, the Black Ark, whenever it gets done. High Pass Cemetery. Let's go, go, go. If in doubt in High Pass, go right. Hey, it looks like I've picked the right place, because this is where order is. Got it. Shadow Warrior just lands on top of you and then bounces away. This can't be good for his back, constantly running around like this. Hey, I've got someone I can guard. They're always immune. There's nothing better than when an Archmage overextends and you get to knock them down for 5 seconds. Like, usually it doesn't do anything because it takes them, you know, having a warband on them to kill them, but... yeah. I guarantee there's a witch hunter here. I can feel it. Damn. The rest of destruction's clearly capping the other one, right? Or not. Ah! More teeth. If in doubt, go right. Ah, he's getting healed by that Archmage. Come on, Marauder. Well, where's the sword gone? Damn. I think most of destruction have just give up. 6 witch hunters rolled onto a BU. Golden Hammer 1384, thank you very much for the follow, kind sir. It's very much appreciated. Come back, Archmage. I will find you. Or your friend. I don't discriminate. Anybody who looks like they've been at a day spa needs to be hit. Go away. Knockdown. Dead again. Seriously? Run, little Pegasus, run! Haha! In your face, order! Damn. Apparently my AoE wasn't enough to stop him from taking it. Let's go left, just for a change of pace. We'll do a last stand over here until they get their 5 last points. See? Saved the day. by stopping that Night of the Blazing Sun. Like, we lost, but I saved the day. uh, good gracious. Right, let's see if we can find this vendor. So according to NC, he is up here somewhere. Ha! I got the objective score and I was in late. Oh, I didn't know you could actually click on people's names and it would allow you to tell people. This is where they put all the armor people. Sure. That's Sovereign and Warlord and stuff. Is this one? Or is it 3315? So...
I've got something for you to do.
So that's the... Well, there's this. Oh, those are mounts. Okay.
What is it, boss?
Behind you. That's the dive ender.
Looking at.
And then this guy's the wee assistant guy. Really, the dive ender sells... Oh, the Herald. Can't buy anything from the Herald, though. Right, do you not need to get a basket or something like that? Or am I completely missing the point? For the eggs that you find in the wild, do you not need to have like an item with you to do something with them? Because I found a few that are full, but when you click on them, nothing happens. Like that's a broken one, so you can't do anything with a broken one, but the complete ones, whenever you click on them, nothing seems to happen. How do you crack them? Ah, that's what I was doing, but nothing would happen to them. Maybe it was just a bugged one. Um, I'll jump over here and see who can find one. We'll do something with it. Oh crap, I forgot about my tea. The whole reason I took a break. Ah, still a good temperature. You can see the line where the textures meet. Yeah, cracked one. Cracked one. Probably be better going to a zone where no one's there. Unless they're only available in active zones. That's maybe a thing. I smell an egg nearby. Smell a little iron breaker. Welcome back, TB. We are currently hunting for Easter eggs. I mean, wyvern eggs. I no longer smell an egg. So that's a good notion that it's somewhere in this area. What you get for 100 wyvern eggs? Stuff and things by the looks of it. We'll jump over to the other map because there's a guy running around this one, so maybe he's hoovering them all up. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe I was too nice. Maybe I should have murdered that Ironbreaker. Maybe he's the one stealing all of the eggs. It would really help if I had eyesight that could see things. But I don't. Oh, there's this over there. It's cracked. Oh, it's a warrior priest. He's just wasted his detaunt on me. Where is... Is that an egg down here I just saw? No, it's just an oversized acorn. Dying dwarf orders. Oh. Find two at once, both are correct. Fairly certain I have not done 10 scenarios yet and I got credit for 10. See, it always feels that way, Anonymous. You always feel like you haven't done enough. But as a witch hunter, you get credit for 10 scenarios for every one that you do. Because witch hunters aren't powerful enough. Speaking of witch hunters, give me your box. Thank you. That was very nice of him to bring me that box. I'm blaming him for being the person stealing all the eggs. That's a cracked one. Ooh, nom noms. I do like me some nom noms. Doing it in an open pairing is hard. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I might go to some random place and try. Especially since I don't know what I'm doing. I remember a time when that was probably one of the better cloaks that you could get. When the game first launched, there wasn't really that many cloaks. So those precursor cloaks that were like 20, 30 were like some of the best things that you could get. I'll jump back over here. Let's see if we can see anything on the way back to the spawn point. War camp. Oh, here's one. Oh, it's cracked. Damn it. I have an idea where I'm going to go to look. But I'm not going to say. Because Anonymous will go there first and steal all the delightful eggs. But I'm going to be sneaky about it. Well, as sneaky as I can be. Like, let's face it. I'm like a blunt instrument. I think the flight doodah's up here. Ah, there he is. So we're gonna go to my favourite zone pairing in the world, High Pass and Talabecland. Because everybody loves High Pass and Talabecland. Also, if there's one place that a wyvern's gonna lay its egg, it's in the icy cold of snow. Because that makes sense, right? Oh crap, they're even cracked here. My plans have been foiled. Ah, there's another one. This calls for drastic measures. There's another one. What monster is here cracking these? Honestly. This was my bright idea. This is the point I'm going to run into like a warband doing this or something. Probably that Magus at this one. Can't begrudge him. Magus looks so cool. Maybe the broken ones are bugged. No. More broken ones. The other advantage of doing this in a snowy area is, hopefully, if they're on the snow part, they're easier to see. But so far, they've all been on the rocky parts, so they're harder to see. Letter to the Order of Luck. Guess that's a quest or something. Someone's really cleaned this place out. I legitimately thought I was being smart coming here. Shows you what I know. Aha! I made it all the way through. None over there. Any in this cave? Ah. Pushed my luck. Trying my best to think where. Oh, I've had a thought. Some place we could go. Even that one's been nabbed. I blame witch hunters. It's always witch hunters. What are chaos wastes? Chaos wastes is basically open and expansive. So if there's any lying around, they should be really easy to spot. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe I'm picking all the places where it's easy to spot them. I should pick the places where it's difficult to spot them, and then people won't have stolen them. I suppose the problem then comes, I won't see them because I just don't pay enough attention. Ah, they've even been gotten here. Either they've got an obscenely long respawn timer, or I am literally just riding the coattails of people collecting them. Oh? Oh, it's a cracked one. Damn it. Thought I was being smart. I wonder if there'll be any in the keep itself. That's something to try. I smell an egg. There's someone running around doing them. This is going to be the thing. I'm going to find one, and then it's going to be bugged. I've had a cunning plan. There might be one over here in the wee lair bit. Oh no, it's over here. You start it, right? No, even these ones have been gotten. What dastardly individual has even thought of this? Even in the lair. I ain't fighting a level 40 hero. I wonder, could my doc solo him? No, because the hero he was fighting was 30 something. I wonder if I head up into the mall. Will there be some in the mall? People will have forgotten about the forts. Hey, malicious, how's things, bud? See if I find like a random outcropping up here and it's got a broken egg on it. I literally got to freak out. Yeah, I'm not too bad, bud. It's Good Friday over here, so we're all off on our hollymabobs. So it's nice to not be working for a day. I am waiting for Tosh to come. Ah, so you're using me to kill time. Damn it. I jest. Okay, so there's no eggs in the fort, it would seem. I'm trying to think of somewhere that no one's gonna go, or no one's gonna think to go. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe I need to think of someone's gonna go on purpose. That sounds so sad. 18. We were in 18. Everyone will have left 18. Thus, there will be plenty of eggs in 18. That's my logic, and I'm sticking to it. Both of you are good people that I love, so don't worry. Well, thank you for the sentiment. Oh, I have a hand then. I'm getting gold. I have opportunities. You do have opportunities. You have opportunities to give me money. They may have reset in Cadron. That's where I was when the event started. Lots of eggs were found there. Ah, okay. I'll give there a go in a minute. I'll have a look here. Everywhere I seem to go is they're all cracked. The only one I found whole so far was bugged, which is why I spent so long running around thinking I had to go and buy a basket. Oh, here's one. See, this is the thing. I just click on it, nothing happens. So that's clearly a bugged one. I think this was the one I seen earlier and it was bugged. Yeah. I see bazillion eggs everywhere. You're so lucky, Anonymous. You're the one cracking them all. That engineer's going around hoovering them all up. Oh, here's one. Cracked. Like me. Cracked. Cracked. These events are really tedious for me. That's why I don't do them. Usually I wouldn't, but I'm intrigued enough to see what you can get. The thing with it is I tend to just get bored and then I give up. And like, there's gonna be enough coming out of this one. Like, if you kill players and participate in scenarios, like you'll get probably most of this. What I'm really after is this. But yeah, I always like to at least try some of the things just to see. I just want to get one egg so I can see what it's like getting an egg to decide whether I want to keep doing the egg thing or not. People say goggles drop from eggs. Huh. What do the goggles do? I've heard things about goggles, but I've no idea what they do. Or are they just an appearance item? People always say it and then provide no screenshots. Yep, that's usually the way it works. The goggles, they do nothing. Watch out, radioactive man. Excellent, one more time. Bart Simpson, you're our new Fallout boy. That's what I would be saying if you weren't an inch too tall. Ah, they're cosmetic. Okay. Cracked. Nothing there. Oh, there's one. Have we finally found an egg that works? Oh my god, we have. Catchy Shuby, you're a genius, sir. There's something inside, right? Click this to see what you get. Light Stratus Blue dye. What's that look like? Ah, okay. Like a milky blue. Ta-da! Ta-da indeed, good sir. So you can get dyes out of them. I wonder what else you can get. I'm intrigued. A lot were dyes. Fashion Hammer is the real true endgame. So that makes sense. I can smell an egg, but I cannot see one. Aha! We find another one. Dyes Wyvern Mount Fireborn Cloak, if I remember correctly. Ah, cool. Green skin yellow dye. I guess that's very bright. Oh, it is. Here's another one. Mork's green dye. Okay. Check over this side. See if there's any lurking. Don't see any. They love putting them under those trees. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you can barely see some of them down around the bottom of these, just because of the way the ferns hang down on them. Two-handed chosen for the win. Yeah, I quite like the two-handed chosen, I have to say. Then again, I just like it for the aesthetic. Like there's something pleasing about seeing a chosen with a massive big two-headed axe. Guess the dyes go with the Easter theme of colouring eggs. Yeah. Oh, it's going to be PV up there. We'll go back up into Cadron again. Are you a blackguard or Slaanesh? I am not. I am a blackguard. The Dark Elves. Now, I'm struggling to remember my lore from Warhammer Fantasy. I vaguely remember that they don't like Slaanesh in the same way that the Eldar don't in 40k, but there is a cult within them, and I think it's Marathi is behind it that worships Slaanesh. And I slurred my words there like I was Sean Connery. Can I have a two-handed mace for the Chosen? I don't think so. I think it's only axes. Axes and swords. Which is weird because you've seen them in the very first cinematic with maces. But unfortunately, the only maces that you can get on the Chaos side of things is the single-handed ones, and I believe they're locked to the Marauder. You can find eggs in the PvE zones, but I think there are less of them. Yeah, that's the feeling I got, is they probably wouldn't be there. Because they'll want you out in the RVR lakes. Blackguard is personal guard for Malekith. Yeah, they were designed. I'm trying to remember like the lore behind it. I think they were designed to be like basically caster killers, because I have it in the back of my head that there was a prophecy that Malekith was going to be defeated by a male sorcerer, which is why he outlawed male sorcerers. Which is the weird thing in this game, that you can have male sorcerers in Malekith's army. Because it's kind of like, you're not really supposed to have any of those. But I remember they came up with some weird rationale for it. I remember Games Workshop signed off on it at the time because everybody was like, no, you can't have that. Oh, what's this? Is it a whole one? No, cracked. Damn it. I love you, man. No homo. You can love someone and not be weird. That's the weirdest thing I always find, is like people tend to sexualize everything. The two are not mutually exclusive. The best thing about the event are the accessories. I don't care about anything else. I don't know. Like, if you look at it, you can get dyes. I don't know what you get out of those. I'm guessing they're maybe just the same things that you find in the actual eggs themselves. Oh god, they've even got the one onto the train track. But like the event, I don't even want to call them jewelry pieces because they're not really jewelry pieces. The event pieces. There's a warrior priest sitting up there. Oh, a grave. You've discovered the grave of Kazagund Alnerson. Did I? Yeah. Okay. I thought there was going to be like an unlock or something for that, but no, it's just a bit of text. That's cracked. Witch elves look like they worship Slaanesh. Dark elves. They kind of ride the line in that sense. Like, I don't really know how Slaanesh came into being in Warhammer Fantasy. I just know that in 40k it was all because the Eldar were getting a bit too pervy, shall we say. Um, but in Fantasy, I think Slaanesh was just always there. And I think the Dark Elves just rode the line between being worshippers of Slaanesh and then just being a bit nuts. But Witch Elves in this game don't really they don't really fit the lore because Witch Elves and lore aren't stealth classes. They're you know they're more akin to effectively the Choppa. They're just like mindless slashy killing machines. So the idea that they're skulkers and rogues in this game is kind of a bit weird. Like realistically, the Marauder's the closest thing to a stealth class that Destruction have because that's a very Zinchi thing to be stealthy. Now the Marauder in game in terms of the tabletop isn't a stealth class, but like it's the closest thing that they have. Dark Elf Assassin would have probably been the appropriate one, and like I really wish they'd just done Dark Elf Assassin, but I think they wanted to put the Witch Elf in just because it's such an iconic model. Yeah, Berserkers, exactly. Well, do we roam around here? And if we can't find any, well, oh, I wish it would say whether it's cracked or it's whole. I think that one's cracked. My enemy, the rock, is holding me back. Yeah, it's cracked. I think Cadron's been pillaged. Right. Let's see. So I'm thinking that's a good idea to try and find them between zones. Because that's where we found most of these, was the point between Cadron and Thunder Mountain. Where's going to be the easiest to get to? Ooh, I have an idea. We'll see if it works or not, but I have an idea. Does one faction need more players than the other at the minute? To be honest, the faction balance bounce back and forth constantly. So, even over the course of a day, you'll find it'll swing from being destruction dominated to order dominated, back to even, back to order dominated, then destruction dominated. Realistically speaking, the majority of the people who play the game play both sides. And they'll generally jump back and forth as they need to. So if you're starting for the first time and you're just wanting to pick someone, just pick a class that you like the look of. Like it's really the best advice I can give you. Because if you're leveling up, say, a squig herder, and you're finding that there's no order about to fight, jump over onto the order side and roll, say, a witch hunter and play him until it sort of jumps back and forth. Like there is no detriment other than I think you have to wait an hour after you've switched between factions to get back onto the other faction again. So, you might as well. No, nothing up here. Silent ones would be cool. Yeah, I suppose. Night of the Blazing Sun looks good. The Night of the Blazing Sun does look good. Um, I have one that's like level 13, I think. I just like the look of knights, like old school medieval knights. Just it's such a good look, no matter the game or genre. Like there's something to be said about nice looking plate armor. Cool, thank you. I think I may have asked you the same question yesterday. Just trying to figure out a good place to start. Ah, it's no worries, dude. We all start somewhere. But honestly, like the best advice I can give you is pick a class that you like the look of. Because like even if things are going badly, if you're getting completely stomped left and right, if you like the look of a class, like it won't be as bad as if you're sort of playing and you're playing something you don't like the look of just because someone's told you, oh, that's a meta class to play. And the thing with it is, like, all it takes is if someone tells you, oh, go and play, I don't know, say Witch Hunter, for example, because Witch Hunters are very powerful at the minute. Go and play a Witch Hunter. It's super powerful. If you play it and then they nerf it, you've just invested all of your time into a class that's now not going to do the thing that you were told it was going to do. So you're going to feel crappy about it, and you're either going to want to quit the game or you're going to want to re-roll anyway. So you might as well pick something that you like the look of, because then they're never going to remove the art assets for it. So it's always going to look cool. That's like my rationale behind it, but I'd love to have a big investor in this game and nicely blend new and old things into one, but that is very hard to come by. Money gets the better of most of us at times. See, the problem with it is Games Workshop is um, very protective of their IP, and they pulled their IP from this game. That's why it's shut down. Because the license agreement came to an end. Now, I think part of that was down to the fact that they didn't have a particularly good relationship with EA. They had been promised that this game was going to drive an awful lot of people to the fantasy tabletop game, which at the time was starting to struggle, which was why Age of Sigmar eventually came around, because it was them trying to reset the lore and setting a little bit. But I don't think that it was ever a particularly fond relationship, shall we say, between them. So that's the first hurdle, the likelihood that they wouldn't want anything to do with it, which would kill anything. EA is the one I'm kind of surprised at, because they had started an awful lot of work in this game to introduce like a free to play model, the same way that they've done with Star Wars The Old Republic. And I think the only thing that stopped them at the time was the ending of the license agreement. And with EA's current love of reintroducing old games and basically giving them a new lease of life and making people pay full price for them again, it's something I'm constantly surprised at that they've never at least asked the question. But I don't think it's ever going to happen, unfortunately. I'm actually trying to play off-meta classes and underdog classes, or less played classes that are desired, thinking of pure support tanks. To be honest, like, I don't really think that there's any underrepresented classes. Like, I can't think of any off the top of my head. Like, there's certainly off-meta classes, the likes of a Magus or an Engineer, a Shadow Warrior. Um, what else have we got? those kind of things, you probably don't see as many of them. Well, you see a lot of them, but like they don't tend to be um, they don't tend to be requested. Is probably the best way of describing it. Um, oh, this is the one where you have to go around the outside, isn't it? Oh, let me climb up. Damn you, game. No. Oh, this is the other thing. This guy here, if you kill him, so it's just down at the bottom of the waterfall here, you get a unlock in your Tome of Knowledge, and I think it's to get a jewelry set from the Lyceum, which is the library in the Inevitable City. What was that I got from him? Ilgu Great Eye. Oh, nice. So yeah, that's something if anybody's interested. But in terms of a support tank, like the Blackguard's a good support tank. I've never played a Black Orc, so I can't really speak to it. The Chosen's probably the easiest destruction tank to play, because it's got its auras, which you don't really have to do anything with other than switch them on. It's got really good damage because its main nukes are spirit damage based. So it bypasses armor. And it looks really cool, which is the other thing. So easy to play, looks good, does a lot of good damage, has decent utility. On the order side, again, I don't really play order all that much, so I can't really say one way or the other. But you've plenty of options available to you. But again, it all just comes down to, like, pick something that's fun, that you like the look of. Does wonders. And like, don't be afraid to pick multiple things. Like when I started, I created about 4 or 5 different classes and played them all at the same time. Like my first set of classes that I made was Blackguard, Chosen, Magus, Zealot, and Witch Elf, and like I played all of them, and it was great fun because I would just bounce back and forth between them. I've only really started to zero in on this guy because he started to get closer to the Sovereign Renown rank. And I thought I might as well just focus in on him, get him to 80, and get it sorted. But like I used to bounce back and forth. I would do my Potion of Acclaim to increase my renown gain. I would do the 3 days playing one class, and then I'd switch to another. I'd play it for 3 days. And then I would switch to another, and I would play it for 3 days. And like, it's an easily done thing. Like, I've got a lot of characters that are all just sitting at renown rank, sort of 50 something or 60 something, just from doing that. Like, you don't have to just focus in on one character all the time. You can if you really want to learn it and get good at it, but if you're just wanting to play the game for fun, like it's a very easy thing to do. Just play a couple of days one, couple of days another. EA is a very weird company. They are. They're a very investor-led company, shall we say. They chase the easy money. Games Workshop also created a lot of lore. Yeah, like that's the Games Workshop are very clever in how they do it. So they'll create lore for something, and they'll leave intentional black holes for you to fill in with your own imagination. So everybody makes their own fun, essentially, is their idea behind it. But the advantage of that is then it builds an expectation within the community, so it makes their job an awful lot easier in the future. If everybody's like, oh, there's a secret fifth Chaos God, and it's been hinted about because of X, Y, and Z, then all that will happen is eventually Games Workshop will go, well, do you know what? You were right. There is a secret fifth Chaos God, and this is his name, and this is what he does. And everybody will cheer and be like, we knew it. We've known it all this time. Aren't we so clever for figuring it out? And Games Workshop's just sitting there going, you were the guys who came up with it. We're just stealing the idea and monetizing it. The auras of Chosen are very good. They are. That's the thing, especially at an early level. Like, flat stat boosts like that are very powerful when you add in bolster on top of it. But like even when you get to like max level, they're still a really good thing to have. I feel like the chaos pairing's being plucked clean. Yeah, I'm testing a few out. I'll eventually fully pick one. Yeah, nice, dude. And that's the thing. If you're testing out a few different things, you'll start to get an idea of what it is that you're liking. And then you'll always have those classes available to you to go back and play at a different date. Because something that you might not enjoy now, you might suddenly come to appreciate later on. Just from having played the game more. We need help in Troll Country. It seems fairly even. They've just done it in 40k. Fifth God, I mean. Yeah, so they're really they're playing the whole Vashtor thing at the minute. Um, I don't know. I I don't think they're gonna make him a Chaos God. The fact that they've made a model for him, they're not instantly gonna change it so that he becomes one. But I think they're certainly hinting at it. I think they're going to use it as a vehicle to bring in Dark Mechanicum as a force. And I think they're slowly building their way towards kind of the old Lost in the Damned chaos lists from back in the day. Because you've now got, I think it's Beastmen in Kill Team. You've got Trader Guard for the most part through Kill Team. You've got all of the Chaos Cultists as part of the main Chaos Space Marine Codex. What else have they got? You've got all of the Chaos Demon-y stuff now as well as being fleshed out, so realistically they've built it up in such a way that the only thing that they haven't done for Chaos so far is Dark Mechanicum, and I think with Vashtor that's what you're going to see coming in the new edition. Let's try Avalor and Safri. Malice isn't it a lesser god? You see, Malice is a weird thing. So Malice was actually created by a third party, and there was a whole lawsuit about it back in the early to mid 90s, from recollection. So I don't think you'll ever see Malice as a proper thing. For that very reason, like they keep making like obscure references to it. So, was it a book or a codex in ninth edition had reference to a homeworld for the Sons of Malice, which was like the traitor Space Marine chapter that was worshipping him. And I think that's been the most recent update they've had with regards to that. But yeah, I don't think it's ever going to be anything like that unless they can like unless they can pull in some serious clout on that side of things. Doesn't stop them, of course, coming up with something equivalent and just calling it something different. Like that's a typical GW move of we'll just shift the name slightly and reuse the concept. Chosen and Lore are very tall and muscular warriors. They are. They're basically walking suits of armor at the end, from what I understand. They go very sort of rubric marine from 40k-ish. But like all Chaos Chosen are basically just the creme de la creme of the tribes, and then they just get super powered by the Chaos Gods. I'm not seeing any eggs here. I'll jump over to Barrack Far. Get some use out of that AAO. Is there a certain something to do to increase protection in scenarios? So protection is like absorb shields, and it's also guard. So if you're guarding someone and they're taking damage, you'll get a protection score on it. But if you're using things like the Blackguard's Shield of Rage, that'll count towards it as well. Healers can do it with their like absorb things. So there's lots of things that contribute to it, but guard's probably going to be the way you're going to build most of it. It can stay as it is a mystery. Yeah, that's the thing. You don't need answers to every question. That's where part of the fun comes from, just not knowing. The word chosen has a powerful meaning for chaos. You're chosen for a reason. Yep, usually because your soul is Nami Nami. Tell you what, I can smell an egg, but I sure as hell can't see one. I always feel like I'm blind as a bat when it says things like that to me. Like, oh, there's an egg nearby. Can you see it? No, I can't. This is why Warhammer is my favorite of the fictional universes. Um, I think that's what appeals to a lot of people, in fairness. It's like the old school choose your own adventure books you used to get when you were a kid. You know, there's a lot of story there, but you get to make it up yourself, and there's nothing quite the same as your own imagination. All of the eggs are cracked like my sanity. Order nom-noms. Wonder what that's done for our RVR week. Hey, we're our second pip. Everything's coming up Millhouse. Now, is he upstairs or is he outside? Outside by the signs of it, considering I can hear a horse. I think Waking's watching the stream. I will chase you round and round. Aha! It's like the heavy metal event. Blackguard versus Knight of the Blazing Sun. He knew what I was planning. That's why he's ran away. Chaos Ram and Troll Country. Oh! So there is. Maybe that's why he ran away. He wants to go and join in the fun. Look at how shiny he is. Must take him forever to put that armor on. It's the thing that I always laugh about with the witch elf. Could you imagine the witch elf getting dressed in the morning with all those spikes? Oh, there's a fancy looking Night of the Blazing Sun. How rude. Be gone. This is my land. I do like the hat. This is the thing. I just love that design. Like, it's really cool. And I also love like the old school style like helmet. I always liked that style of like visored knight helm. Let's see if I can do special. Ooh! I know the special for Chaos is they do like a wee float and backflip thing. Ah. I should clap. Well done. Hat's not as fancy anymore, if you notice. I have 850 wins on my chosen. That's a tad low for chosen. What gear do you have? I don't have any fancy tricks like this, unfortunately. Uh, look at my fancy ball.
You may go.
Oi, oi!
I am character rank 30. That's not too bad. I think that's more wins than my Susan when he's bolstered. I think. I think he's only like 820 or something like that. Bolster lag is horrible. And it often kicks in at the worst possible time.
Haven't you got fighting to do?
You'd think so, but I'd rather get my work rests. Fluffy muffins. What a name. I love some of the names that you find in this game at times. A level 17 doc came to challenge me, the fool. The doc is such a weird class. It goes through so many highs and lows. He's probably still thinking he's as strong as he was when he was level 15 is the problem. Oh, we're down here. That's handy. I love synth music. I deleted the name Cuddle last night if anybody wants to get it. I went for... So, my Choppa and Black Orc, I called the Black Orc takes it, and I called the Choppa gives it. Because one takes the damage and the other gives it out. Oh. Well, I managed to arrive in time just to get zerged. I'm on a blackguard at the minute named Origin. Ah, nice. We've done 5%. We're nearly there. Only 95% to go. Are they all running off the... For a second there, I thought they were all running off the turtle in the crypt. I was going to go like, Jesus, guys. They're just taking a wide berth around the keep, I think is what they're doing. Destruction, try not to lose challenge, impossible. The fact that someone didn't leave the ram even when it was at 10% so he can pull it and heal it means everything. Yeah, it means people don't know much about siege weapons. Like, they're trying to intimate that it was an order spy, but yeah. What's this? Warrior priest. I don't think I have enough time to fight a warrior priest there without getting zerged. How come your game runs so smooth during such a big fight? My computer's a bit of a beast. Which I think helps. That and my internet's pretty good. The two combined probably help. Apparently I smell an egg nearby. But I cannot see an egg. Just a cracked one. Sad. Mine is slow as molasses. Yeah, to be honest, it depends on what you're using to play the game. And what your screen resolution and all is. Like, I can play at a high resolution simply for the fact that I've got such an overhead in performance. Could just be a green skin there. They smell pretty bad as well. That is very true, they do. But I have it on good authority that wyvern eggs smell worse, apparently. Or so the game says. Anonymous makes good suggestions. All good ways to improve your performance. What's this thing doing? Weird. Okay. Also, I hate being level 35. I'm so weak in RVR. I mean, you're playing a Witch Hunter Anonymous. You'll never be weak. It's just you won't be quite as OP as you were. Give me back my god like level 32. It'll come, it'll come. I mean, sure. Do you think he's terrified yet? Or do you think he still has a chance? What's your RAM and hard drive like? I find an egg! Ah, it's bugged. I use a 512 gig PCI for SSD. Oh, okay. 16 gig of RAM. To be honest, you should have enough there, like. Is there a best stat or stats to focus on for a tank blackguard? So in terms of talismans, I use a mixture of toughness and strength. When I was lower level, I was using pretty much mostly toughness, just to boost it up high enough. You'll find most of the defensive sets will give you set bonuses for toughness and wounds as their first two. So you can really mix and match as you need to. I'm pushing PQs for Carnage at the minute. Ah, nice, dude. Right. Well, we've been going for 3.5 hours, so I'm going to take a break, guys. Thank you all so much for coming along and watching. Sorry we spent so long running around looking for eggs, but I genuinely wanted to see what they were, so that's the thing. I'll hopefully be back on later on this evening, close to my usual time of 7. So you're all very welcome to come along and join in the fun. I'll have a wee look here and see who is streaming. Who have we got? Ah, Tough Monitor's on. I'll give him a shout. So yeah, thanks all very much for coming. Hopefully, I'll see you later, but if I don't, enjoy the rest of your day, and hopefully you'll have a nice day tomorrow. And I'll see you again back here the next time. But until then, take care, all the best, and see you. Bye.